it's Debbie with Cool Cats Art. Well, I'm still continuing with Cloudpours today. I've got a 20 by 20 gallery wrapped canvas that I have re-gessoed because I bought it used and they had painted actually a Bible verse, which I thought was pretty cool, in the middle of the canvas, and I've gessoed over it just to make sure that it hopefully isn't going to pop back up. I don't think it will because these paints are pretty thick. Well, today I'm going to attempt to do what's known as a kissing cloud pour. Why is it called kissing, you ask? That's a good question. Well, what you do is you fill up 2 cups. In this particular pour, I'm going to do 1 palette of cool colors and 1 palette of warm colors. So when you get your cups layered up, then you pour them out on the canvas. Basically, the cups are touching or extremely close, and you pour them out together onto the center of the canvas. And hopefully what's going to happen, is what I've seen happen with other people's pours, I hope it happens with mine, is it creates a real unique design where you've got a cool set, a palette on one side that's completely different from the palette on the other side. So the idea is you can use a lot of complementary colors that you ordinarily can't mix together, but use them on the same canvas because they're somewhat separated because you poured them into 2 cups. So we'll see what happens with that. This is the first time that I've tried to do this, and I've mixed up a lot of paint. It was going to take 18 ounces of paint to do this size canvas, and I knew that because I went to my online calculator, which I put a link to in the description box, and I knew that's what it was going to take for thick paints, and I am using thick paints today. On the consistency of the paints, again, I'm using my consistency gauge, which I've got a link to Tammy Anderson's YouTube channel explaining all about this, and you need to watch it, and you can download it from there also. You put a dollop of paint, you stand it up and count for 5, and wherever it lands, the number corresponds to a particular pour. In this case, I wanted almost all my paints to land around a number 3, which is a fairly thick paint, somewhere between 3 and 4, not to exceed 4. I like my paints in these cloud pours to be pretty thick because I want them to stay as separated as possible. And particularly when I'm filling up some pretty good sized cups to start out with. So these are 8-ounce cups. I need 18 ounces of paint. I'm going to paint, I'm going to fill the cups up just a little beyond the 8-ounce mark, and that should be close to 9. And I'm going to start out with a small puddle pour in the middle, just to kind of get this paint spreading out a little bit so it doesn't just completely pile up in the middle. I'm not going to pour a base coat all over the entire canvas, but I'm going to pour a pretty good sized puddle in the middle. So that's what's going to happen. And it's just white paint that I pour in the middle. So I'm going to layer up my cups first with the I think I'll start with the cool palette first. Now, one thing I want to bring to your attention when you're layering up cups for a cloud pour or any pour that you're layering cups in, the first paint that you put in is going to be the last one, of course, that comes out of the cup because you're pouring it out. So the first one's on the bottom of the cup. So I want the center of both of these cloud pours to be a dark color. So in order to get that, I've got to put a dark color in first because hopefully it'll be the last one that comes out. So I'm using a dark turquoise as my bottom layer on the cool cup, and I'm going to put a pretty good amount in there because on top of this I'm going to put the white mix, and I don't want the white mix to completely cover up the dark when the pour is done. So I'm going to pour a pretty gracious amount of this dark turquoise color in my cup to come out last on this pour. And I think that there's not that much in here. I'm gonna go ahead and just use it all up. There we go. And I hope that's not too much. And so next I'm going to put in some cloud mix. And the cloud mix that I'm using is a combination of 50% Deco Art Satin Enamel White with 50% Artist Loft Soft Bodied White, a dash of Liquitex pouring medium and water to thin to the consistency of the rest of my paints. So I'm going to put a little Cloudpour mix in here with this. It's always tricky to really know exactly how much to put in. You want enough, but you don't, to make the cloud, but you don't want enough that it swallows up everything else. And that seemed like it's a little thick, so I may need to check the consistency on that and thin it down just a little bit. Okay, well, the rest of this is going to be on a fast speed so that you don't have to wade through me layering up all of these cups. And I will be back once they're layered. Okay, now I've got both of my cups layered up, warm palette, cool palette. Now I'm going to put that small puddle down in the middle, spread it around a little bit. I have this canvas on a spinner because I'm pretty sure I'm going to wind up tilting and spinning. I'll just spread this out a little bit. I don't want it too thick because it could interfere with the paint colors. Just enough to get a good glide started on it. It's a pretty big canvas, and I had to shore it up on the back with some foam board to stiffen the canvas a little bit more. Okay, I think that's good enough. There's a lot of paint going on this canvas, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think I forgot to mention that all of my colors that I'm using are down in the description box. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. We'll see what happens with this. I don't like to pour from real high up because it makes the colors mix a little bit stronger, so we'll try just kind of pouring them side by side and see what happens. Okay, well, that's awful pretty as it sits. Lot of clouds forming over here. I see them, and not as many on the cool side, but that may change as we start to stretch it out. I'm just going to let it sit here for just a couple of minutes because the satin enamel paint has to do its thing and bubble up through the surface. So I'm going to torch it real quick. Get some of these bubbles started. Now I'm giving some thought into wrecking this Cloudpour, and I can't decide. I've wrecked them before. It turned out real well. I don't know. I think maybe just some minor wrecking, nothing too drastic. I don't think it's going to hurt it. Just got to decide where and what I might want to do with it. I don't want to scrape it all the way down to the canvas because it may scrape up some white with that, and that's what I was trying to avoid. Let's see, there's still some clouds popping up, and this is going to open up once we get it moving and reveal a lot more than we're seeing now. Although I am loving all these colors put together like this. Okay. Just want to tilt over this side a little bit. What I've got to do now is put some more flow paint around it to help it spread to the edges. All right, let's start the process. And I'm going to kind of bring it back to the center first of all because it's drifted. Okay. I'm going to stop right here for a second because I want to give it a little spin and see. I still need to probably tilt it down this corner right here. I'll give it a spin and see if some of it goes over that way. I've got to try to get it centered on the spinner first. Just, I think, some gentle spins. It's moving it out some. I may have to still wind up tilting it though. I've got a pretty good ways to go over here. Let's see. Well, it's moving pretty good. Yeah, I've got this side right over here. I may need to just tilt it over that direction to get it closer to the edge. There's still a lot of movement in this paint, so this is really spectacular. I love the colors. I really do. Okay. Now, having done that, let me give it a little spin, and then I think I might have to bring it back to the center again. It's gotten off center. So let me edge it back this way again. Okay. I need to get it back centered on my spinner. And I don't like too much having it over the edge the way I need it. So I think just a couple more spins and we're going to be there. Oh, so close. I think that may have finished it. It did. Well, I've got a tiny corner right down here. But you know what? I'm going to take my palette knife and just dab a little paint on there. Wow. I am a happy, happy camper with this. This is amazing. This turned out absolutely, completely gorgeous, if I do say so myself. And I think I can say so myself. I need a little bit of warm color palette off of this edge over here. I'm just not wanting to spin it much more because it's pretty much where I want it. But that is, in my opinion, spectacular. I mean, like, I really, really love this painting. I'm gonna take my painted up gloves off and bring you down closer for a closer look, but it turned out pretty much exactly like I wanted it to turn out, and I'm glad I wrecked it too. I think that's helped add to the design. Okay, jeez, I'm so excited. Cannot wait to show this to my husband. And some of this may continue to develop for a little while longer. I don't know. Okay. All right, here we go. People, people, people. I think the even sheer size of it is great. Just having it that big. A lot of clouds there. And like I say, it's just the whole composition of it, and the contrast is just gorgeous. Well, this is a win in my book. So thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and comment if you need any questions. I'll be happy to answer them or help in any way that I can. Okay, bye-bye now.